these studios are using nostalgia to draw you in to draw you in. Nostalgia is being used. It was used with Deadpool and Wolverine, and it got us. It got us. I'll admit it. It got me. The nostalgia got me, but now the movie is unrewatchable. I can't rewatch it. I can't. They're using nostalgia to hook you in, and you're falling for it. What's up, guys? Welcome to Laugh Manga. And the topic for today is move on from Christopher Reeve. I'm sure this topic will infuriate some people, but I think it's something that should be talked about and something that people don't talk about. As always, please like and subscribe for more videos like this. Um, it's really ironic that DC fans and gun fans say that you should move on from Henry Cavill's Superman. They usually say this. They say in this form, like they say, embrace the what do they say again? They say respects the past and embrace the future. But it's ironic that they can't move on from Christopher Reeve Superman because they always like bring it up that the current actor should embody Christopher Reeve as if like Christopher Reeve is like this as like as if he is like the source material, you know. Basically, they want this current Superman actor to embody Christopher Reeve. Well, that's not the case. It doesn't have to be like that because that is just an iteration, just repeating an iteration. Because they've done this before. They've been like constant iterations of Superman. It's become repetitive and repetitive until it got until people were fatigued. Like with the likes of like Superman Returns, they did the same thing. They stuck with the Reeve thing just because Christopher Reeve's Superman was a success back in the day. Maybe like the first movie. Maybe because it was a success, they stuck with it. They wanted to draw the success from it, and then they made Superman Returns, where Christopher Reeve Superman returned from somewhere back to Earth, and people complained that it didn't take risks, there was no action, stuff like that, and they brought in a Marvel director because they saw the success of Marvel at the time, and so but it was not what they wanted, so they had a change of heart, wanted something different, something original, and they brought in Christopher Nolan to do his interpretation of the Man of Steel. And Christopher Nolan was like, you bring in a good friend of mine, Zack Snyder, and Zack Snyder made Man of Steel. And Man of Steel was original, came with its own score, had a realistic take. It resonated with the audience, with the modern audience. And so, but still people complained that it took risks, there was too much action. People don't know what they want, basically. So, and now they're doing it again with Superman, the 2025 Superman. They're doing it again. They're doing what they did in Superman Returns, where they're trying to embody the Christopher Reeve trope, trying to embody that, try to put that in that movie. They even put his theme song, which shows that this movie is not original. It's just a copy and paste. And so, I just want to say that people should just move on from Christopher Reeve at this point. Like, the 60s style, 70s style, it worked back then. The Christopher Reeve movies, they worked back then because they were focused on that audience. That was the modern audience of that time. So you can't bring a silver age thing and bring it here into this modern audience because the modern audience will not resonate with it. They will not. If that's their plan, if that's DC's plan, if that is James Gunn's plan, this movie will not resonate with anyone. It won't. So, it's just, this movie is not original. This new one. It doesn't even have its own score. Like everything, everybody's talking about, oh, he looks like Christopher Reeve. He embodies. Like, leave Christopher Reeve alone. Like, leave his legacy alone. Focus on this movie. Make it original. Make it something different. Like Man of Steel. Make it something different. Make it stand on its own. You know. So, I just wish people would just move on from that. Oh, the Christopher Reeve. Like, move on from that. Because Christopher Reeve was just another iteration. It was original. And this misconception where just because Christopher Reeve acted like a dork and a clumsy guy as Clark Kent, and then people think that that's how Clark Kent is supposed to be. And people complain that in Henry Cavill did not act like that type of Clark Kent. You know, they said, oh, that's not Clark Kent. He's not acting like Clark Kent. But when you realize it, that is Clark Kent. The way Henry Cavill acted was Clark Kent. Look at the animated series. Look at the animated series of Superman. Clark Kent is calm and collected. Clark Kent is not a clumsy, stupid person. That is something that Christopher Reeve came with, and he put that to maybe to make his character unique. He came with that, and people think that that's how Clark Kent is supposed to be. That's not true. And now with the new Superman, David Cornswet, you can see clearly that his Clark Kent is going to be a clumsy idiot, and that's not going to work. This goofy, campy thing, it would have worked in the 70s, but it's not going to work here. So that's the problem. Like, people just don't want to move on. Like, Warner Bros., they don't want to move on from the Christopher Reeve. Because it's the only thing that's keeping them going. It's the only thing that's that they still have, basically. Like, this thing of not moving on from this thing, it feels like, let me make an example. It's like, how do I put this? Like, for example, if Chris Hemsworth, since Chris Hemsworth is Thor, then a couple of years time, he retires, and then another actor comes, and then people will judge that actor and say, if he acts differently, they're gonna say, that's not how Thor is. That's not how Thor is. Thor should be like this. Just because Chris Hemsworth came in and brought his unique acting to this character. He brought in this type of, and then another actor is gonna come and play Thor. People are gonna judge him because he's not acting like Thor. Because you were comfortable with Chris Hemsworth, and you resonated with him, and now you want this actor to be the same. You want him to be the same, as if Chris Hemsworth's performance comes from the comics, like it's the comics, like it's from the source material, like it's sacred, but it's not. And people, please, these studios are using nostalgia to draw you in, to draw you in. Nostalgia is being used. It was used with Deadpool and Wolverine, and it got us. I'll admit it. It got me. The nostalgia got me, but now the movie is unrewatchable. I can't rewatch it. I can't. They're using nostalgia to hook you in, and you're falling for it. So without the Christopher Reeve nostalgia, without anything like that. This new Superman movie is just, it's a copy. Basically, it's a copy. So I really wish that people just open their eyes and just see that we need to move on. Like don't tell people to move on from a character they resonated with, that they loved, when you can't move on from this character. Like maybe you resonated with Christopher Reeve and you have a soft spot for that Superman. But don't tell people to move on when it's hard to. And especially when the Snyderverse wasn't finished. You can't tell people to move on. You can't. That is like watching Avengers Infinity War. And then when you're waiting for Endgame, another regime comes. Kevin Feige announces that he's firing some people and he's bringing someone else. And then Endgame is cancelled. Endgame is not going to happen. That's how it feels like. So you can't tell people to move on. If you tell people to move on from the Snyderverse, you move on from Christopher Reeve. If you can do that, then you have the right to say move on. If you can't, you have no right. That is it for me. Peace.